Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. It's nice to see you. And thank you for joining our GuanYin Birthday Dharma Assembly. It's very nice to be able to spend time with you. This is my last weekend before I go up north and then fly to Korea. So I won't be seeing you for about almost 2 months. Okay. So it's good that you show up today because help me remember your faces. Okay, how is everyone today? And this is such a wonderful opportunity to remind ourselves, reconnect ourselves, and create more affinities with GuanYin Bodhisattva, the great Bodhisattva of compassion, Amitabha Buddha's right-hand man, right-hand woman. You see, it's right there. Even Amitabha Buddha does not discriminate against women. His number 2 is actually a woman. Number 3 is actually a man. You see it now? There's no discrimination in Mahayana at all. There's no discrimination between men and women. As long as you are enlightened, there's no more discrimination. Okay? And so GuanYin Bodhisattva decided to come here to our world, was born here, and we all know how tough it is, how much of an ordeal it is to go through birth. And so the Bodhisattvas, this is their spirit. They're willing to endure a lot of suffering in order to help us out. Not just help us out, in what way? In the way that's by example. Buddhist teaching is always by example. We don't talk about it unless we're doing it ourselves. Okay? It's not theory at all. But this is a great compassion bodhisattva who comes to our world to remind us to the importance of compassion. Why? How do you increase your compassion? That's her role here. Her dharma is to increase our compassion. How can you increase your compassion? She taught us many, many dharma doors, such as the great compassion mantra. You recite it, you will increase your compassion. You recite her name, you also increase your compassion. Most of the names you recite, that we recite, will increase your compassion. Okay? What's another way for you to increase your compassion? Compassion is your being able to see suffering in others. Okay? If you can simply see that others are suffering, look at your own household. Look at work. Look at your friends. Can you see the suffering? If you can see suffering, then naturally your compassion will grow bigger and bigger. Okay, how they're suffering? Buddha is very wise. It's very fundamental. He talked about all sorts of sufferings, but today we don't have a lot of time, so I talk about 3 kinds of sufferings. Yes, 6.
Master, last week you gave us homework for today. The question was, when we call out for GuanYin's help, why don't we get an answer? Something like that.
Okay. Thank you for reminding me. So I better speak about suffering very quickly when we go into the question and the quiz thing, the open book quiz. All right. So if you look at people suffering, it's very easy to see because the Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, taught about the various types of sufferings, especially the 3 kinds of sufferings. What are the 3 kinds of sufferings? Anyone knows? I want you to learn about this and then look how people are suffering at work. I remind you, you have to use this information, this knowledge, to look around you, to see the kind of suffering that is so prevalent everywhere. Your own family, your own work, your own people that you love, your friends, acquaintances. Yes, 5. What are the 3 sufferings? What are some of the 3 sufferings that no one is spared from? No one.
Isn't one the suffering within suffering?
Very good. The first one that comes to mind is suffering on top of suffering. Ku. Ku is Chinese. Ku is suffering. Ku, suffering. It's like they are stuttering. No, actually, the Chinese are very subtle. It's suffering on top of suffering. It's not within suffering. It's within suffering is American. What the Chinese means by that, and you can't blame the translation from suffering within suffering, actually is suffering on top of suffering. What's the second kind of suffering? Yes, 8.
For Master, I don't know if it's the second one, but accumulation is one of them.
Accumulation? Yeah, there's one kind of suffering, but not among the 3 kinds of suffering. Yes, 3.
The 3 poison.
The 3 poison is a form of suffering. Yes, absolutely. Yes, in the back. 7.
Hello.
You want to do the Sufi dance too? You see the Sufi, someone doing the Sufi dance earlier over there when you were chanting? I guarantee you she'll be enlightened soon. Yeah.
Mô Phật bà thầy, giống Quan Thế Âm Bồ Tát đó, giống mình khổ đó, Quan Thế Âm Bồ Tát có lại cứu mình không?
Amitabha Master, GuanYin Pusa, if we are suffering, will she come and help us?
Maybe. That's part of the answer a little bit later. Yeah? Okay. What do you think?
Giống như bây giờ đó, cái này là con có nghe kinh qua, thầy nói là bây giờ đó mình nó khổ, mà mình không biết lại Phật, không biết cúng, không biết tu, không biết gì hết trơn á, mà mình có khổ mình kêu Quan Thế Âm Bồ Tát thì nhúng tay lại cứu mình. Rồi mà mình mà miễn mà mình mà có giống giàu, có ăn chơi đồ này kia đó, phung phí đồ này kia đó, thì mình khổ đó, Quan Thế Âm Bồ Tát này không có lại cứu mình. Mô Phật.
This woman is so discriminatory. But that's so chiu chow.
Amitabha Master, if we, I've read in the sutras and learned about suffering, but if we do not know how to cultivate and we do not change ourselves, can we still get support from GuanYin? For example, I've heard that if you are rich and you indulge in the pleasures, that means that you will not get her support.
Okay. All right. I'll go into that a little bit later. Okay. Yes, DTT.
마스터 지금 주제가 아니라 마스터께서 질문하신 3가지 고에 대해서 제가 조계올더에서 배운 바로는 한번 끊을게요.
Master, changing the subject, I'm talking about the 3 sufferings. I learned from Joge Order.
네, 제가 조계종에서 배운 3가지 고통은 첫 번째는 원하는 것을 얻지 못하는 고통, 그 다음에 2번째는 싫어하는 사람과 만나야 되는 고통, 마지막으로 3번째는 좋아하는 사람과 헤어져야 되는 고통. 그렇게 저는 조계올도에서 3가지 인간의 고에 대해서 배웠습니다.
I remember there are 3 sufferings. First of all, you can't get what you want. And then the second one is you can't be together with the loved one. And number 3, being with someone that you hate.
Well, there must be a lot of suffering for you. Okay, those are the three sufferings. That's true. Okay, very good. Okay, in terms of three sufferings, the Buddha talked about is that if you talk about sufferings, you think about suffering, the three types of sufferings cover all the sufferings we experience. So first of all, suffering on top of suffering, meaning that what? It means that you're suffering already, and another suffering is added on top of it. Okay, for example, you just lost your job, and came home and told your wife, hey honey, I just lost my job. And guess what? She says, oh, I'm so sorry for you. Guess what? I want a separation. Okay, that's really suffering on top of suffering. That really, really hurts. Okay. Second suffering is suffering of decay, 坏苦, okay, or the destruction suffering. Okay, what does it mean? 坏苦, it means that the suffering of decay means that you are enjoying your pleasures, enjoying your blessings, and all of a sudden, okay, they come to an end. Things change. And the suffering there is very, very difficult to bear. Okay, so the first one is very difficult to bear already in your body, in your mind. Okay, think about it. Okay, you work so hard to support her, guys, and then things didn't go well at work, and she says, I want better. Then you losers. So hang on to your jobs, guys. This is the wrong time to change jobs. And number two, suffering of decay, meaning that you, especially for people who can afford it, they're having a good time, they're enjoying themselves, they have lots of pleasures, and then they suddenly come to a stop. For example, those who, like Elon, for example, he lost about $200 billion the last month or so. That, believe me, is a lot of suffering. Have you seen his face? It's kind of distorted now. When he in January, first of all, January's face is sort of like, number 2 in the world, okay, in the U.S. But now it's like, I don't know, I don't feel so good about myself. Okay, so nature of a suffering and decay is that you have it good for yourself and you lose it, and that is so unbearable. Isn't that interesting? Suffering on top of suffering is that you suffer and more suffering is added on top of you. Okay? So the nature of that suffering is that, in summary, especially for you depressed people, is what? It's too much. Agree? It's just way too much. You can't take this. Okay? Number 2, what is the nature of this kind of suffering of decay that makes it so unbearable? We become attached to pleasure. We become attached to enjoyment. It's a warning call for you. The pleasure you're experiencing right now, okay, is a seed for you to lose it, to suffer later. Think about death. It doesn't matter how rich you are, how famous you are. When you die, you have to lose it all. You're going to lose it all. Okay? So when you're rich, okay, and you're having fun, you're having all the good things in life, and you get what you want, okay? But if you lose it, that's when the attachment built in to your attachment to pleasures is so unbearable to you. And the question is, there's a question earlier, does GuanYin help those people? I hope not, is my answer. Because I find it hard to have pity for people who have so much more than I do. Okay? It means all of you. I'm a beggar. Okay? And the number 3 is suffering, is 辛苦. 辛苦 is the suffering of what? Of change. Of the process. Okay, what does it mean? It means that the first 2 refer to the suffering that we ordinary people are subject to. We are in our lives, we have suffering with, on top of suffering, a suffering of decay. No one is spared from that. Is it clear? Okay, especially when you get older, you have this suffering and decay here, which is really a silent form of suffering. The body is decaying, it's breaking down, and your children don't want to hear you complain, okay? Because you feel like complaining every day, but they get tired of hearing it because it gets worse to our bodies every day, especially when you get older. Huh? You older people in the back? Yeah? Okay. So that's part of the attachment of the body we talked about. Okay? We're so attached to our body that when the body decays, it's so much suffering for us. And I speak from experience. Okay? And the third time of suffering, unlike the first 2, is a suffering that most of you are not aware of. The suffering of change. This is what the sages can see in us, but we cannot see. They can experience it, we cannot experience it. What is it? The suffering of change, suffering of the fact that our mind is constantly burdened by delusion, and therefore, how does it react to delusions? It keeps on thinking incessantly. You don't think suffering, do you? But as you drive, when you're driving, you go and you walk, you go to the supermarket, and your mind is constantly thinking and plotting, discriminating, calculating. Yes? At least it happens to me. Okay? And that's a form of constant suffering that's 24 hours that you are not even aware of. The first 2 suffering is that the intensity brings your attention to it. Whereas this third type of suffering, the suffering of change here, okay, is constant and so subtle inside of you. Let me explain to you. It means that it's draining your life energy away. Every single second. When you think, your energy, life energy, decreases. That's why it's very difficult a process that's very difficult to reverse. We age, and the older we get, the more we think. The more worries we have. Okay? We find you and your wife, and then all of a sudden she wants to have a baby. Okay? Now you have to worry about a baby. And then second baby, third baby, 14 babies. Think about it. The guy must be suffering so much. Yeah? Okay? So the worry is there. The obsessiveness, the obsession in your heart right there is constantly draining you day and night. And the sages see that, and they said, this is why I'm cultivating and I have the skill to stop that suffering. And you all are able to do that through the spiritual cultivation. All right? Yes, 5.
Yes, Master. Is that, I thought I recall that was the activity skandha, that suffering of change. But it sounds like you're describing more the sixth consciousness, just the thinking mind.
It's all of that. There's the thinking mind as well as activity skandha, all of those.
Including the very subtle, like activity skandha is doing things like your heartbeat and your fingernails growing. All of that is also part of that change, suffering.
Yeah, but that's way too subtle for you to see. I'm only bringing it to a level where you can understand. Okay? When we talk about, if I tell you ordinary people that your fingernails growing is a suffering, a form of suffering, it takes too long to explain to you. Okay? Yeah. All that is based upon the thoughts that are continually arising in your mind.
Is eventually at that subtle level, it's also, it can be...
Yes, it can be stopped by the sages. Only sages are able to stop that suffering. That's why they can see it as a suffering in all of us, ordinary people. Is that clear? When you get to the sages level, then you say, I'm free from this kind of suffering. Okay? All right, anything else? So go to the question about does GuanYin help? Yes, 7. Yeah? 7.
Alo.
Hello?
Mô Phật bà Thầy. Con ngọ đó, nó hỏi ngọ mẹ có sợ chết không? Thì tôi nói tôi rất là sợ, tôi sợ chết. Rồi tôi hỏi về con có sợ chết không? Thì nó không. Cái nó mới hỏi về tại sao mà mẹ sợ chết. Tôi nói là tại vì mẹ chưa giác ngộ thì mẹ sợ chết. Mẹ miễn mà giác ngộ thì mẹ không có sợ chết. Mô Phật.
Very good.
Amitofo Master, my child asked me if I was afraid of death, and I asked him if he was, and he said, no, I'm not. And he asked if I am, and I said, yes, I am afraid of death. If I am enlightened, then yes, I am not afraid of death. But since I am not enlightened, then I am still afraid of death.
That's correct. When you are enlightened and you no longer are afraid of death, when you're enlightened, you're free from birth and death. If you're free from birth, you're also free from death. Okay? That kind of suffering is no longer applicable to you. However, when you speak Dharma, okay, when you try to talk to people, you need to relate to them at a level that they can understand. Okay? And so when you say, for example, I'm scared right now because I'm not enlightened, and what you're doing is that you're introducing another unknown, enlightenment. They have no clues. Okay? If I were you, I would say, I'm afraid of death because mommy is going to lose you. Okay? Just because you cultivate doesn't mean you have no emotions. Yes, emotions actually are much stronger, but at the proper times. You choose to be emotional at the proper times. Okay? And yes, after you become enlightened, actually your attachment to your son is actually stronger, but you can control it. Whereas when you're confused, your attachment are not actually as strong, but you have no way of controlling it. All right? All right, so going back, time is running out because we need to do a lot of ceremonies today, yes? So question I asked you is, when you ask GuanYin for help, GuanYin is known in our cultures and our Dharma as the Bodhisattva who will come to you for help. Well, you need to teach your children in particular. This is very important. One of the things you need to instill in them is that there's someone who's stronger than us, that we can turn to. Catholics turn to God and so forth. Okay, for us, we turn to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in particular. When you are suffering, think of GuanYin, and GuanYin will help. Yes, DTT.
To address Master's previous question, if I put myself into the shoes of a big boss, no matter how generous, resourceful, compassionate I am, there are many situations that I will help, but there are also many situations I will choose not to help.
Okay.
Such as when the person is not ready for the help. If I help you, you will fuck up more. That's not the time to help you. Or you don't deserve the help. Chances are maybe you're asking way beyond what you deserve in terms of your blessings, experiences, contributions, and everything. Or if I help you, someone else deserves this much more will suffer. I might choose not to help you because the other person deserves a lot more. Or you're asking me for something that's not my priority. So I might delay helping you. So basically, I think there will be many situations when Guanyin Bodhisattva would choose. Oh, there were also chances such as, I think you need to suffer through this yourself. Either you need to pay back the debt, and I think you can. It's not the right time to help you yet. All this suffering will teach you so much that it will be significantly beneficial to you, so should not be helping you yet.
Okay, yes, 3. Very good.
Master, then should we not call for help? What if it takes so long for her to think like that? Should we just stop?
Okay, first of all, about the answer. Now it makes me feel so old and useless. You don't need me to explain the Dharma to you anymore. Speak Dharma to each other. How's that? Okay. I just ask the questions and you give the answers. Impressive. That's very, very good. It's very practical. Absolutely. Yeah. Yes, GuanYin Bodhisattvas always help. When you ask her for help, she will always help you. Trust me. I believe it. Okay. Sometimes the help you cannot be seen. Sometimes the help you can see, but she will always help you, including the people who are rich and who are doing well, like GuanYin's relatives there. Okay, even if they're well off and they're having a good time and so forth, when they're have experienced any kind of suffering, and they remember to ask for help from a bodhisattva, they get help. Be careful though, the help is proportional to, number 1, your level of sincerity. Okay? If you're sincere, the help comes faster and as you wish. When you're not as sincere, she will still help you, but not as much you would like to hope. Okay? And it's correct. GuanYin always helps. I know that in the past I asked for help, she's always helped. And even when I was confused and I asked for help, and at those times I was really at the end of my rope, I asked for help, she helped. No two ways about it. Okay? And nowadays I stopped asking for help. Okay? And occasionally I ask for help for others, like on airplanes. You know, the last time I remember flying an airplane to Korea on a Taiwanese airline. Okay, and the pilot said, "Hey, folks, it looks like we're gonna be in air disturbance for the next 12 minutes." And because the plane started shaking violently, very violently. So the pilot had to call, make the announcement. He said, it's going to be in rough weather for quite a while. I'm going to try to bring the plane to a higher altitude, but it's pretty bad right now everywhere I see. So we're going to be really rough time for the next 12 minutes. And so people started to panic. So I said, immediately in my mind said, okay, GuanYin, please help. And within seconds, pilot came on the announcement. He says, you can remove your seatbelt now if you want, because it looks like the disturbance disappeared. Just like that. And so there. And that's why, I've asked for help on these international flights for a couple of times now, and now I don't dare ask anymore. Because I'm saving my blessings. Every time you ask for help, you use up your blessings, folks. Be very careful. Okay? So absolutely, when you ask for help, she always helps. And the help from a bodhisattva is not always visible to us, but they're helping in a way that is primarily beneficial for us. That's all. The best way to help us, you ask her, she will help you. It's my belief. Okay? Believe. Okay? And you see. So this is why today we get together and add more blessings, add more affinities with her, and so that in the future we have better responses. How's that? Okay? Yes, 8.
Master, one question. If you ask GuanYin for help during a ceremony and you say, help me with my cultivation, are you still using your blessings?
Absolutely. When you ask for something, you're using up your blessings. This is one of the things that I learned from my teacher, Chinese teacher. He says, don't seek. You don't seek, you don't ask. Okay? When you have wisdom, then you learn to ask for others. The people with wisdom don't ask for themselves. All right? The people like Master Thichvinhhoausa, he occasionally has to ask GuanYin for help. Okay? But he never asked help for himself. Never ever, as far as I know. Okay, maybe once, when he was dying on that boat and he was younger, he says, if I die, I die. But if I die, these people on my boat also die because of me. These sea demons were trying to kill me. So, GuanYin, please help. Okay. So at the younger days, he himself already would not ask for help for himself. Okay. So on our path, we always we run into our limitations, and this is why be aware of it. The great Bodhisattva, GuanYin Bodhisattva, is always there to help us out. Okay? Yes, 7.
Thank you, Master.
Dạ bạch thầy, con muốn chia sẻ một câu chuyện Quan Thế Âm rất là mầu nhiệm. Con làm ở tiệm thuốc tây, có một bữa tiệm con mở cửa trễ, thành ra post office nó có để một tờ giấy là có thể ra ngoài post office để lấy đồ. Thì con nghĩ tiệm thuốc tây chỉ là giống như là giấy tờ paperwork thôi. Thành ra con đi ra ngoài thì con nói là con muốn lấy con đưa tờ giấy cho nó. Trời ơi, nó đem ra nguyên một cái packet thiệt là to. con mới nói mày có lộn không? Tiệm tao là tiệm thuốc tây. Nó nói mày lại mày coi cái địa chỉ có phải không? Thì con coi đúng là đúng. Trời ơi, con nói mày có thể help đem đi ra ngoài xe giùm được không? Thì nó nói là ở đây có một mình nó làm thôi, nó không thể lấy được. Thành ra con vái Quan Thế Âm Bồ Tát giúp cho con có người để giúp con đem ra ngoài. Con mới vừa cầu thôi thì tự nhiên có một cô đó đẩy nguyên một cái xe to vô. Cổ tới cô hỏi con có cần giúp không? Trời ơi, con thiệt là không biết nói làm sao. Thật là nhiệm màu. Cái con mới nói trời ơi, mày có thể help tôi được không? Nguyên một cái packet to quá. Thì bởi vậy nó biết, nó mới lại để nó chở, để nó lấy giùm.
Wow.
Cái xong cái người làm mới chồng mới bưng ra giùm, định để lên cái xe nó kéo đi ra ngoài. Nó nói xe cô ở đâu? Nói xe ở ngoài trước á. Thì nó đẩy ra tới ngoài. Trời ơi, con không biết sao con rất là cảm ơn nó. Cái nó một lát rồi con xoay qua xoay lại con không có thấy.
Biến mất
luôn. Trời ơi, thiệt là con không biết nói làm sao. Mà thầy biết sao không? Tự nhiên ngày nào con cũng niệm chú Đại Bi, thành ra có thể là linh ứng của chú Đại Bi.
Very good.
Dạ, con cảm ơn thầy.
Don't translate this. It's too good to be real, you know. You don't need to know this. This is too much.
Hello, Master. I would like to share an auspicious story from GuanYin.
No one listens to me anymore. That's 坏骨. Change of decay. I'm suffering decay. Go ahead.
Should I stop, Master?
Too late, no?
Okay. Sorry. Trying to read between the lines. Okay. I would like to share a story of an auspicious story related to GuanYin. I work at an herb shop, and it was a late opening.
No, pharmacy, no herb shop.
A herbal.
No, it's a pharmacy.
It's a pharmacy?
It's a real pharmacy.
Oh, yeah. A pharmacy.
Yeah, not a herbal store. Yeah.
A pharmacy, and we were opening late that day, and I got a paper from the post office to go there and pick up some items. So I thought to myself that since I work at a pharmacy, it is just paperwork that I have to get. And when I got there and gave them the paperwork, they gave me a large package. So I thought it was a mistake, and they said to check the address, and I checked the address, and it was correct. So I asked them if there was someone to bring the package to the car for me because it is too big and I cannot handle it. And I'm the only one there. So they said no, they cannot do that. And I was panicked and asked GuanYin to help. And all of a sudden, I see a lady with a big cart coming and asking me if I need help. It is so auspicious when I asked for me to see this help. And she asked me if I need help with the big package. And I said that, yes, if you can please help me. And she said, I know that you need help. That's why I brought this cart. So they brought out the package to my car, and they asked me where the car was. I said it's in the front. They brought it out. I was so thankful. I was just filled with gratitude. I didn't know what to say. And then when I turned, they were gone. So Master, I chant the Great Compassion mantra every day, so maybe this is related to it.
Very good. Yeah. I'm going to start chanting the mantra every day too myself. I asked for a super lotto, but it never happened. Yes, Seven.
Dạ thầy, con quên nói cái packet đó là một cái tủ thiệt là to. Khi mà con đem về tiệm, con hỏi dược sĩ là bộ you order cái tủ hả? Em không phải, con không biết là cái gì. Thì dược sĩ nói sao mà cái gì to dữ vậy? thì thành ra coi lại cái địa chỉ, thầy biết là cái tiệm bác sĩ kế bên nó là một cái tù.
Don't translate this now. Okay. Translate. Okay.
So I forgot to mention this part, but when I went back to the pharmacy and I asked the pharmacist if he had ordered a big package, and he said, no, what kind of package is so big? I didn't order a big package. And it turns out that it was the next door doctor who was next door who ordered the package, and I had received it.
That's really weird. So is she helping you or is she helping the neighbors? Isn't it interesting? The point is that when you are distressed and you ask for help, she will help. Okay? Yes, 6.
This is from Brady. I believe GuanYin declines to help us when our suffering can really be handled by ourselves. This has been my experience.
Ah, I see. Yeah. Okay. Very good. Yeah. The help comes in so many different forms. Sometimes it's as we wish. Sometimes it's not the way it is exactly, but it calms us down. It helps clear our head when you recite her name, and then we all of a sudden figure out another way to fix a problem or things like that. So just believe that the Bodhisattva is always watching over us. Okay? As she said, the point is very, very important. You have to deserve it, folks. Okay? Create more blessings with her. Don't just say, just be like ordinary people. Just help me. And they keep on abusing the Bodhisattva. And one of these days, the Bodhisattva says, I'm too tired. This person keeps on asking for help. It's too tiring. Okay? I'm not going to help for a while. She's too deeply into debt. Huh? She owes me too much. Yes, 2.
Thưa Thầy, con xin kể một câu chuyện mà con nghĩ chỉ có Quan Âm Bồ Tát cứu đại gia đình con thôi. Sau năm 1975, khoảng đâu 76, 77, 78 gì đó, thì con cũng làm việc bình thường. Nhưng tự nhiên cái buổi chiều hôm đó con nghĩ là phải làm một cái gì để cứu nhà mình. Thì con không biết từ sao cái con mới lấy những cái sợi dây cung cột từ cái cánh cửa đi ra đằng sau, chỗ bếp đi ra sau, ra ngoài vườn, ra ngoài sân. Rồi con cột qua cái cửa sổ. Rồi con xỏ mấy cái nắp son mà nó có cái vòng ở trên đó Thầy. Con xỏ xuyên qua, con treo lên, có 10 mấy cái nắp son vậy đó. Thì tối đó gia đình con đi ngủ hết. Tự nhiên nửa đêm ấy con nghe nó rần ở ầm ở dưới bếp. Con mở cửa con chạy xuống á, thì con bật cái đèn chỗ cái phòng ăn ra sáng trưng lên, thì con thấy cái con chạy xuống ở dưới thì con thấy cái cửa sau nhà bếp con đang khép trở lại. Thì con không biết ai mà đi ra ngoài bây giờ khép trở lại. Thì con mới bật cái đèn ở chỗ đó nhà bếp với ở sau lên đó, thì họ rút cái cầu chì ra rồi.
Wow.
Thì con bật lên không thấy. Thì con đứng đó con ngẩn tò te, cái con ngó xuống dưới đất. Mà chỗ đó của con là con để một mớ son nấu ăn chảo rồi đó. Nó cũng rớt xuống đó, cho nên cái tiếng rầm nó vang lên thật là to. Cho nên con mới nghe được. Rồi con dòm con thấy có một cái đoạn dây thừng, dây dừa mà nó xếp lại một khoanh dài như vậy, nó đang bỏ trong nhà con. Hồi giờ con đâu có cái đó. Thì vừa đó ông xã con ở phòng trên, ông mới chạy xuống, ông nghe vậy ông cũng chạy xuống, ông thấy, ông hỏi chứ cái gì ở trên kia vậy. Trời, con sợ, con thất kinh quá, cái con núp sau lưng ông nói chứ cái gì. Cái ông biểu dòm lên trên thì con thấy sao ở trên trời á Thầy. Tất nhiên là con biết là cái người đó họ mở ngói của nhà con, họ lật ngói lên, họ trụt xuống. Cho nên họ mới dậm trúng cái chồng son quánh con rể đó, nó mới rớt xuống. Rồi họ thất kinh quá, đi họ thấy ồn, gây tiếng ồn thế nào, chủ nhà cũng xuống. Cho nên họ mới mở cái cửa sau và họ mở ra thì cái dây đó nó đứt, nắp son nó rớt lộn xộn xuống. Rồi họ mới họ chạy ra ngoài, họ vừa rút cầu chì họ chạy ra ngoài. Thì con đứng một lát con không biết làm sao. Như vậy thì nhà mình ai vô đây để mà muốn hại mình làm cái gì? Thì con cứ nghĩ là lúc bây giờ con đứng con cứ nhớ trong đầu con chắc Quan Âm Bồ Tát. Hồi đó con chưa có biết niệm thầy. Con chỉ nói chắc Quan Âm Bồ Tát phù hộ cho mình thôi. Quan Âm Bồ Tát phù hộ cho con cảm ơn chỉ vậy thôi. Đó, và sau đó thì con kêu người tới là đứt ngói lại, sửa lại. Mà trong đầu con cứ nghĩ là Quan Âm Bồ Tát hộ cho gia đình mình, chứ không bữa nay cả gia đình mình chết hết. Tại nếu người ta vô nhà là chắc là người ta cướp của, người ta giết gia đình mình để ta làm cái gì thưa thầy. Anh con nghĩ là Quan Âm Bồ Tát biết rõ cái điều đó sẽ xảy ra trong gia đình con, mà đã biểu con phải cột những cái đó trước đó thưa thầy. Dạ. Gia đình con ngày đó mới được bình yên. Dạ.
You have to learn Vietnam. The story is so juicy. You need to hear the original version. Go ahead, translation.
Yes, Master. I have a story that could only happen with GuanYin. And it was around 1975, 76, or 78. I was working normally, and at this time, having a hard time, so I thought I needed to help my family. So I took a rope and started from a specific spot in the house. I went around the garden, through the house, and then through the front door, and I put napsong
lids. Yeah. Pots and pans lids.
Lids from pots and pans, and I went through the kitchen door. That night, when we were asleep, I heard sounds in the kitchen, and ran downstairs, turned on the light, and the kitchen door was open and closed as if someone had entered. So I turned on the light, and they had broken the circuit. I found they had broken the circuit, so I was shaken. And I could see the pots and pans fall from the floor, which is what caused all the noise that made me come downstairs. I could see the rope that I usually don't see around the house, rope made of coconut. And I suddenly, or after that, my husband came down and was wondering what happened, so he asked me what happened. And I said, I don't know. And he said to look up, so I see stars in the sky. So why do I see stars in the sky? They had opened up the top roof and went through my roof and went down to the kitchen, and that's why I heard the noise. And got scared, so I ran downstairs, and then they broke the rope. I don't know who came to harm us, but I thought that GuanYin had protected us, and that's why I knew to put the rope in my house. And the next day, I had asked someone to come and fix the roof, thinking to myself that without GuanYin's help, our family could have been killed or had things stolen from us. And she knew ahead of time. That's why she told me to tie the rope, and my family was safe that day.
Wow, it's interesting. She didn't even recite GuanYin's name, and she helped anyway. What a cool thing. Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you for sharing your experience and your stories. We stop here today.